Good evening, traders. Welcome back to the channel. Now, it has been 5 weeks almost since the correction started in the overall markets. And in the last 5 weeks, we can see that Nifty has been able to correct by close to 4.5%. Now, generally in a bull run, in a major bull run, 4.5% correction is certainly something very normal. But yes, as a trader, no one wants a correction to be happening in the markets. Everyone wants a rising market, but that doesn't happen in reality. Anyways, now going ahead, we can see that the trend in the daily time frame charts over here on the left hand side. Today I'm not going to talk about monthly time frame chart because I understand by looking at the charts that the overall price action, the overall game is basically either in the daily or in the weekly time frame chart. So I think we'll keep it very straightforward. So the trend in the daily time frame chart is down, the momentum is also down, and the trend is flattish right now in the weekly time frame chart, but although the momentum has started slipping down, you can see in the RSI. Now I'll just like to remove this price calculation just to give us a little bit more clarity. And now this is fine. So now going ahead, this is an important, you can say, not a support, but certainly an important psychological level. And the reason is you can see multiple times prices have been able to bounce from here. It is a sort of support, but not a very strong one, certainly, according to my analysis. And the stronger support is basically over here in this zone, 24,200 or 24,150. And the reason for that is exactly this support is coexisting with the 38.20% Fibonacci retracement in the weekly time frame charts. So generally when there is a support in the daily and in the weekly time frame charts, that particular support level is extremely strong. That does not mean that we should stop looking at this support band whatsoever. We should certainly give it a little bit of importance. And the reason for that is we will be able to see what has happened in the last couple of days. What has happened over here is first Nifty came here. It sensed that there was some support, tried to bounce back. Again, we fell down. And again, we can see that we have been able to bounce back a little bit, but there has been a pretty strong wick over here. So there is a lot of selling pressure coming up in this zone over here in Nifty spot, and there is a small support over here. So I think if momentum pushes market further down and if this support is broken on closing basis, the next important support could be at 24,200, 24,140, 150. All right. Going ahead with Bank Nifty, although it has a negative divergence in the weekly time frame charts, which I have been sharing with all of you since few weeks, you can see a higher high in price, a lower high in RSI. Apart from that, the momentum is still better, slightly better in the weekly time frame charts in comparison to Nifty and Bank Nifty. We can clearly see the difference. And the important support over here, which can turn around the market on the upside, is at 55,250 in Bank Nifty. And the same support somewhere is over here. Like, yes, there is a 110 point difference in Bank Nifty, but in an index where the numbers are like 55,000, I think 100 to 100 points doesn't make that much of difference. So I think this is an important zone over here. We need to wait and watch what happens in Bank Nifty. Okay, like does it bounce back from here, or something else happens? And the chances, in case if something bounces back in the market, if I want to compare Nifty and Bank Nifty both, I would certainly try it, probably my luck on Bank Nifty. Okay. Going ahead, we'll have a look at the private banking space. The private banking space, you can see the momentum is certainly down. The trend is also now down. In the daily time frame chart, the trend is down, the momentum is down, RSI is well close to 30. Important supports coming at somewhere over here in this particular number. Why? Because in weekly charts, The important support is 26,670, and once this is broken, then it will be like 26,520. So from 26,770 to 26,530 is an important support. In case if we break this particular low, which is the low of Thursday, if we sustain below it maybe by 110 points or something like that, then I think private banking space will try to slip slightly on the downside. PSU banking space. PSU banking space, again, the momentum is down. The trend is flat in the weekly time frame chart over here. You can see that the RSI is going down pretty sharply. Okay. Even the correction over here is with pretty good momentum, and even this low in the RSI is broken, which is a sign of weakness. This is an important level, not a very, very important support, but an important level. If we break this, certainly, if we break this, then some sort of downside momentum will be visible in the PSU banking space. Energy pack. Energy pack, I think this is one particular sector which you will have to trade as a trader very, very carefully. And I'll tell you that why. The reason for that is the trend is down, all right? Understand one thing, the trend over here in the weekly time frame chart is certainly down. The momentum is also certainly weak. The trend is also weak in the daily time frame chart as the price is below the moving averages. The RSI is also down, but now there is a big but over here. Check what is happening in the price and in the RSI. I will convert this chart into a line chart, and we can see that we do have a lower low in price and higher low in RSI. Now friends, this is not a positive divergence. ये कोई positive divergence नहीं है. This is just a sign that the ongoing momentum on the downside is weakening, is getting weaker. Now, if I say that, you will probably say, oh no, why are you saying this? Because we do have a bearish engulfing pattern sort of happening in the candlestick charts in the last two trading sessions. Well, bearish patterns happening at a support with some positivity in an oscillator can actually turn around the bearish sentiment in the market. We need to understand what pattern emerges where, वो ज़्यादा important है rather than just understanding and finding out which pattern is made on the chart. That is what we need to understand. In terms of support, short-term support somewhere is at 34,745. Now, we can see that this important low has been broken. We have tried to trade below it for 2 to 3 days. What price action is visible over here in the next 2 to 3 days is very, very important. As we can also see in the weekly time frame charts that this low is coexisting at a place in the weekly time frame charts where there are few wicks over here. Okay, so although this support is not very, very strong, but still, if you are a bearish trader, you trade in futures, you probably go short in stocks, be a little bit more watchful when you are trading in the energy pack. I'll just say that. That's it. All right. Okay. Auto pack. Auto pack, I would say before going to the daily time frame chart, first have a look at the weekly time frame chart. It has been able to safeguard itself as a sector much better than all other sectors because yes, it has been choppy, but it has refrained from falling. यानी कि ये ज़्यादा गिरा नहीं है, which is a sign of strength. The momentum is also not down. It is possibly bullish or flattish, which is an outperformance in the overall market. But when you look the same in the shorter term time frame charts, things are not the same. Yes, there is a little bit of bearishness which is visible, and if we sustain below these lows, then probably this is the next support which is close to 23,000 levels in the auto pack. All right, now going to the consumption pack. Consumption pack is also pretty strong. You might say that, we have seen on this down move, again this down move. Yes, I will say you're not wrong. But if you look overall in the weekly time frame charts, we have been able to sustain. The momentum in the weekly time frame chart is flattish. It's not very, very strong. Okay, it's not bullish, but it is certainly not bearish also. And as price level, if you want to talk, then in terms of price levels, we are close to this 50% Fibonacci retracement as we have a look at this zone and these recent highs. So I believe we are at a very, very strong support. Now what movement happens here is important, but in short term, if you're a short term trader, then be very, very careful, because in extreme short term, even if this sector is strong by looking at the weekly time frame chart, there is a lot of choppy movements happening currently in the consumption pack. So you have to be pretty careful if you're a short term trader. I would probably like to, keep my eye on the sector, but certainly also stay away, because a lot of choppiness is visible and making money in this scenario is not going to be very, very easy. All right, finance pack. Finance pack, I think slowly and steadily, it's losing momentum. It's still holding on. I'm not saying that it's not able to hold itself. It was able to hold itself last week, although from the higher levels, it did give its way down. And now again, this week, we have a red candle. RSI has also broken this particular low, which is a bearish sign. This is a recent low and which has been supporting the price multiple times. Now this is first, second time, and this is the third time. So I guess if we start trading below it, this is the next support in the finance pack, probably somewhere around 26,250 to 26,100 levels in the finance pack in short term. FMCG, well. Last week, I clearly told you that we want to stay away from this sector. The reason for that is bullish move, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, down, pullback, again a down move, pullback, down move, suddenly an up move. And then suddenly it gave all the way down and suddenly up. So if you see overall, it is a complete haywire movement. It's complete choppiness. It had started looking interesting somewhere here because it did take out this high, and I was actually waiting to see what happens over here. But again, what happened, it took resistance from here and it corrected. Now again, it's making a higher low. So overall, I think it's choppy, very, very choppy. Even the weekly chart is very, very choppy. Even the momentum is flattish. I think as a trader, I would like to stay completely away from this particular sector and wait for better clarity. Infra pack, one of the strongest sectors. I think it's trying to possibly correct. It's going through a profit booking spree, and the next support in the infra pack is going to be at 88.49, and even in the daily time frame chart, the trend is down, momentum is down, and it's probable that it may test 88.60, 88.50 in the short term. IT pack in the weekly time frame chart is weak with extreme high momentum on the downside. High momentum on the downside means that it is bearish. Please don't take it in a bullish way. It's bearish. The trend is down, momentum is down, looks supremely weak. Only thing is that in the daily time frame chart, the prices are away from the moving average, slightly away, not extremely, but slightly, and RSI is well below 30 levels. It is almost close to 20. All right. So whenever price is below 30, and if we have some interesting formations in the RSI, and if price comes at important levels, then I think so it is important to have a look in the IT pack. But overall, right now, it's certainly looking weak. Metal pack, one of the strongest sectors just before a few weeks, and now it seems that it's correcting. The momentum is down. The trend has started looking weakish on the downside in the weekly time frame chart. The next important support may come up at 89, 82, and the same support is almost there in the daily chart. You can see this particular low, and exactly this, not exactly, maybe 10, 20 points here and there, and this is the same level. So once we close below this, then I think it will be an addition to the overall bearish sentiment which we have developed in this particular sector. Even we can see a formation of lower highs in the daily time frame chart and even lower lows. And once we break this low, which is even a more important low than this one, I think it will be a little bit more bearish in terms of sentiment. Pharma pack, one of the strongest sectors right now. And do not watch this candle as of now or it will misguide you. Yes, this has happened due to one of the uh, stocks which has the leading weightage in the pharma pack, and it did correct probably due to results. But otherwise, if you just have a look at overall charts in the pharma pack, the trend is up, the momentum is also fine. Both things are fine. Only thing is that it has disturbed by crashing down, and even RSI has gone down vertically. Generally, these vertical moves in RSI on the downside do not sustain. So I think we have to wait and watch and see what happens. That does this correction have a follow through, action on the downside, or does it recoup and bounce back? Only time will tell. So I think as of now, overall, it's a good sector, but price action is more important in the next few days. Only then we'll be able to understand what's the next plan in this particular sector. PSE sector, one of the strongest sectors, and now it's correcting. The trend is down. The momentum is also pretty clean on the downside. RSI in the daily time frame chart is going down. It's below 30. Trend, momentum, both are down in the daily time frame charts, and I think we can see very, very clearly that the next support is at 93.80, 93.90, and this is the support in the daily time frame charts. If you go into the weekly time frame chart, the support level over here is 93.48. So I believe from 93.50 to 9400, again I repeat, from 93.50 to 9400, it will be an important support. I will just mark this for myself and also all of you, so it will be a good reminder next time. I'll just mark it over here. It's going to be 93.50 and 9400 level. So this is going to be an important support zone for the PSE sector. All right. Okay, Realty pack. Realty pack has been able to correct pretty nicely. Was one of the strongest high momentum sectors, and it's also correcting with high momentum. Now currently the price is coming down at the 61.80% Fibonacci retracement. We can see a lot of cluster over here, and this cluster is exactly the two previous highs in the real estate sector. You can see this. So I think we have come back to where we had started facing resistances earlier, and now we can see this is a support. Now what formation happens over here, that needs to be seen. Now if you check properly in the price and in RSI, we have already one thing which is visible, that if you just want to cross check, that we have a lower low in price, and RSI is not able to make a lower low very strongly. Okay, it's not very, very strong. So we have to be very, very careful over here. Okay, we have to be very careful. I think if you are a short-term trader and if you trade in futures or anything, just be careful that we are at a short-term support, and probably we need to wait, watch and understand what price action is visible in this sector in the next few days. Midcaps, if you remember, I had already warned all of you in my last one or two videos that we are seeing a weakish momentum, and the weakish momentum was because we were seeing higher highs made in price, lower highs in RSI, and then slowly and steadily we saw in the last 5 weeks price is correcting. It has also broken the previous low in the daily time frame chart. The trend is down. The next support comes up at 56 to 86 in the mid-cap sector, and the next bigger support will be somewhere at 55 to 70 in mid-caps in the daily time frame charts, and the higher time frame charts will be at 55,010. All right. So before ending the video, summing it up all, I would just say, like, Pharma pack is one of the strongest, but just one stock correction overall it did dented the sentiment of this sector. But in the next few days, we'll have a bit more clarity. But apart from that sector, overall other sectors are weak in terms of trend, momentum. Auto, consumption are holding on. Energy pack, as I told you, like you have to be a bit more careful. There is a formation in the RSI which is looking interesting. I'm not saying this is a bottom or something. It certainly looks interesting. And overall, I would say that it is very normal to have a correction in an overall bull run. So far, we have corrected by 4.5%. We just need to wait and watch that if this low breaks somewhere around 24,450 on closing basis, then maybe the next support could be somewhere at 24,150 or 24 somewhere at 180. All right. So trade well and trade wisely. Thank you.